Hello everybody, welcome back to the sessions on power electronics by Ramana. In this seventh session, we will be discussing the details of IGBT, particularly in terms of its evolution, construction, working, and characteristics. And also, we will be reviewing the applications of various power electronic devices we have discussed so far, and also IGBT and discuss about the applications to which a typical device has to be selected. To go with in this session, yes, we will be discussing the construction and working of IGBT, BA characteristics of IGBT, review of applications of power electronics and devices, SCR, GTO, SCR, DIAC, TRIAC and LASCR, which we have already discussed, and then also IGBT. What does this IGBT means? It is insulated gate bipolar transistor. Insulated gate bipolar transistor. And this name has been derived from the combination of the constructional technologies of BJT and MOSFET, which are followed and combined to construct and form this IGBT. It is a combination of BJT, bipolar junction transistor, and MOSFET, metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. From these two, BJT you have learnt in the previous semesters, and also MOSFET you have been exposed but didn't go through it into deep. But when it comes to these two devices, they are extensively used electronic devices and also power electronic devices, but they have certain problems with them, where BJT is a device with low power loss but long switching times, especially during turn off. Its turn on time is also more, and also turn off time, which is again more than the turn on time. Again, MOSFET is a device with fast switching times, where low turn on and turn off times but have high power losses. In case of BJT, power loss is less, but in case of MOSFET, power losses are more. The drawbacks of BJT and MOSFET are overcome by IGBT by combining the better features of both these two devices. So IGBT is a combination of BJT and MOSFET, where the better features of both are incorporated in it. So IGBT has low switching times as well as low power loss. So that is how IGBT has been come into existence after combining BJT and MOSFET. But before actually going into IGBT, going to discuss IGBT, we will have an overlook on BJT and MOSFET. Just we will have a short review on what is what. And as we already know, BJT is the actual basic type of transistor which was invented in around 1940s. It is the actual transistor where two PN diodes, two PN diodes are joined together. Two PN diodes are joined together in opposite directions, so that three-layer device can be formed. Three-layer device can be formed, and it can be PN in opposite, so it can be PNP, NP and NP in opposite, or it can be NPN. And when compared to normal diode, this has a third terminal which is connected to the middle layer, which is called as base. Other two are emitter and collector. Other names given to this emitter and collector are source and drain. So these are the typical physical constructional things of BJT. This is a PNP transistor and this is an NPN transistor. These transistors can be visualized as if two diodes are connected in opposite, where a supply or a current made to flow into the base, or when some base current is allowed or permitted to flow into the base junction or in the middle layer, then the conduction prevails, and the conduction can be from emitter to collector or collector to emitter depending on the device, and also depending on various configurations, CE, CB, CC, all those things which we are not going to discuss them deeply. But these are the basics of a bipolar junction transistor or BJT or a normal transistor, which you have to understand as the current flowing from the emitter to collector or source to drain, or current flowing through the transistor, is controlled by a very small current flowing in the base. Base current is a controlling current, and the actual current which flows through the transistor will be called controlled current. And with a very small controlling current, you can have high magnitude of controlled current or final current, transistor current. So it is nothing but an amplification. It amplifies the current with very less base current. Actual current flows from emitter to collector only, for which the equivalent the symbols are given, where PNP emitter has an arrow into it, NPN emitter has an arrow out of it. The other required voltages and current flows are shown like this. These are the basics of bipolar junction transistor. With this construction, power loss is less, but turn on and turn off times are very high. You will have just a glimpse over what the experts say. These transistors are so named because the controlled current must go through two types of semiconductor material, P and N. That is why it is called as bipolar transistor. It consists of both electron and hole flow in different parts of the transistor. The transistors function as current regulators by allowing a small current to control a larger current. As we have discussed, small base current which controls large current, that is emitter to collector or collector to emitter. So it is a current controlled device. In order for a transistor to properly function as a current regulator, base current and the control current must be going in the proper directions as shown in those figures, again which are shown like this. For PNP and NPN transistors, this is the sandwich structure, which again we can visualize PNP, NPN. That is how the layers are formed. We can also see what the other experts say. This is the same thing which is shown in the slides. When we talk of the actual working of the BJT, it is divided into three regions: active region, saturation and cutoff. This can be understood when you see the characteristics of the BJT. It is similar to whatever we have, we already know it, where the cutoff region, active region means the main region through which the transistor operates as an amplifier with gain. Saturation is towards the left or towards the y-axis. The transistor is fully on or operating as a closed switch, that is saturation. Cutoff is towards the x-axis or parallel to x-axis, the transistor is fully off, operating as a switch in the IV characteristics of the transistor. And not only BJT, this transistor or all transistors have the similar sort of operations, and they will be operated depending on the need in the active region or saturation, that is on or cut off. The transistor's ability to change between these two states enables it to have two basic functions: switching or amplification. So switching actions, that is on and off, is used for digital electronics, and the analog electronics, the amplification is used where it is used in active region with the gain beta. And it has less power loss, but turn on and turn off times are long. Next we will go to the next device, MOSFET. Again we will have a simple review, but we will spend some more time on this because you might not have exposed to this. MOSFET, metal oxide semiconductor FET. Again, after the invention of BJT, there then came another transistor, depending on its working procedures or working principles, field effect transistor. And that field, the features of that field effect transistor are enhanced by altering its construction, also having the different sorts of terminals, and particularly the layers used are made up of metal oxide semiconductor. Normally in most of the cases it is SiO2, silicon dioxide. So eventually it becomes MOSFET, metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. And again, when it comes to MOSFET, depending on the construction and how it works, there are basically 4 types. But again, to make it more simple, it is P channel MOSFET and N channel MOSFET. P channel MOSFET and N channel MOSFET. Channel means the channel or the path through which the actual current flow takes place. This is the simple construction of MOSFET. PNP transistor, PNP. This is NPN and NPN transistor. And just notice a difference between these two PNP transistors, where the P layers, P plus layers, are not shown with any sort of interconnection, whereas in this figure it is shown as if the two are shorted. Likewise, it is shown in the same way for NPN, no connection here, as if they are connected with a short. And the first thing is these two configurations, PNP and NPN, these two configurations are called enhancement mode MOSFETs, and the other two configurations are called as depletion mode MOSFET. These depletion mode MOSFETs require lesser voltages for conduction, and the enhancement mode type of MOSFETs require higher voltages for conduction. The minimum voltage for conduction, it has to cross a voltage called threshold voltage, then it will conduct. Again, mostly used configuration of MOSFET is N channel enhancement mode type of MOSFET. And when it comes to the symbols, nothing but it will be having 3 terminals. Actually, Actually, source is your emitter, D drain is your collector, B is your base. In all these things, it is shown like the same thing: source, base, drain, source, base, drain. And there is another terminal shown like this, G. It is the gate. In this particular figure, these are interchanged. This is gated, this is drain, and others are correct. SGD, source, gate, drain, source, gate, drain. And for enhancement mode, this conducting channel, this is the conducting channel of the transistor. It is shown with dotted lines. It is shown with dotted lines, indicating that it requires more voltage to break the barriers and junctions. And for depletion mode, as it is already shorted, it requires less voltage for conduction, and it is shown with continuous line. And in the symbol, there is a gap shown between the gate and the actual MOSFET, showing that there is no electrical connection initially between this gate and actual MOSFET or transistor. That is why it requires some voltage to trigger it, or it is insulated. Actually, it is insulated. So a capacitor sort of action will be there. As you go on increasing the gate voltage, then the capacitor voltage will be built up. When it becomes equal to and more than the threshold voltage, they will conduct through the given channels, either N channel or P channel. And this depleted type of MOSFETs, they require lesser voltages and they readily conduct. These can be equated, or this can be considered as normally closed switches. So there is no separate procedure for turn on. They will simply turn on when the threshold voltage is crossed. But for turning them on, you have to apply some voltage between the gate and emitter. When it comes to enhancement mode, you require some extra voltage or more voltage when compared to depletion mode. Or enhancement mode MOSFETs are considered as normally open switches, and once they conduct, they will conduct when threshold voltage is crossed. They will conduct, and when the total voltage becomes zero, they will turn off. So enhancement modes are normally open switches, whereas depletion mode are normally closed switches. In most of our power electronic and electronic applications, we will be using normally open switches, or we will start them as normally open switches, and when required, we will make them conduct as if they are closed. So among all the configurations, N channel MOSFET with enhancement mode is the most used one. But again, when it comes to MOSFETs, they are faster. They have faster turn on and turn off times, or it is suitable for faster switching actions. But more power loss will be there. This is the drawback. Again, just we will go through another way of representing these layers of the MOSFET structure. It is P-type substrate, N-type channel. So this is an N-type or N-channel MOSFET. When conducting takes place, current flows between N to N. This is acting as base, and gate to source voltage, drain to source voltage is shown like this. And from this figure, we can say that this is enhancement type of MOSFET. There is no shorted connection between N and N. Depletion type it requires gate source voltage to switch the device off. It can be easily turned on, but for requires gate source voltage to switch device off. It is equivalent to normally closed switch, whereas enhancement type is equivalent to a normally open switch. You require gate source voltage to switch the device on. These are the switching characteristics of N-channel MOSFETs and circuit symbols. Most of the transistors will be having such shape, IV characteristics, and this is the saturation region or turn on or closed switch type of action, and here lies the cutoff or off region or open switch like region, and the working region, which we have discussed as in the case of BJT. The same things are described in a different fashion in over here. This is again N channel depletion type MOSFET, where the material used is SiO2, silicon dioxide metal oxide semiconductor, and the terminals are made up of, or connections are made with aluminum. So they are MOSFET enhancement mode, depletion mode, P channel, N channel, P channel, N channel. Some symbols likewise are given. This is N channel depletion type of MOSFET. In this N channel depletion type of MOSFET, P type substrate is lightly doped. These N regions are heavily doped, as it is indicated as N plus, which act as source and drain. Between these two N plus regions, there occurs diffusion to form an N channel conducting drain and source. This is the key factor for that. So this acts as a normally closed switch. Working of N channel depletion mode MOSFET. In the NMOS, that is N channel MOSFET, has to be worked in depletion mode. The gate terminal should be at negative potential while drain is at positive potential, as shown in the following figure. For this is N channel depletion type. N channel depletion type. Drain to source voltage is positive, and to turn this off, you have to apply a gate to source voltage of negative voltage. When you compare the same thing for N channel enhancement MOSFET, this will be reversed. The others will stand the same, where it will turn on when gate to source voltage is having some value more than the threshold voltage. It will conduct. So it is a voltage control device, but again unipolar device. BJT was a bipolar device where the conduction was due to both holes and electrons or majority and minority carriers. For MOSFET it is only either N channel MOSFET or P in P channel MOSFET. So it is unipolar MOSFET, and also it is unidirectional. It conducts in only one direction. This is N channel MOSFET enhancement mode, where gate to source is given with positive and drain to source as maintained as positive. This is what we have discussed. So the same things can be applied for P channel MOSFETs for both depletion and enhancement modes of MOSFET working. So with these things we will switch over to the next topic, or our main topic of today's session, that is IGBT. The whatever drawbacks are there in case of BJT and MOSFET, they are eliminated and its best features are taken. So what happens is IGBT will be having low switching times and also low power loss. When it comes to the construction of IGBT, again IGBTs are two types, N channel IGBT and P channel IGBT. As you already know, we have N channel MOSFET and P channel MOSFET. So if you use N channel type of construction of MOSFET and combine with PNP BJT, it becomes N channel IGBT. And when we use P channel MOSFET and combine it with NPN BJT, then it becomes P channel MOSFET. And again, in case of IGBTs also, the most used one is N channel IGBT. In that also there is a certain difference in the construction in case of inner N place layer. Because of that, again there will be two types, punch type of IGBT and non-punch type of IGBT. We will be discussing that in the following slides. When it comes to the basic structure, this is a non-punch through IGBT with N channel. These things we have already gone through. Just like in the case of MOSFET, conduction takes place because of this N channel, like this, from source to drain. Source to drain, eventually the conduction will be taking place. And it consists of a P plus layer called as drain or injecting layer. Or drain is the outer P plus layer. P plus means heavily doped. Drain is connected to P, called as injecting layer. And next comes N layer, which is large in size and area in this case, where just adjacent to P plus, N plus layer will be there, or in some region heavily doped layer will be formed with N plus, which is called as buffer layer, and next the actual N minus substrate layer or N minus N layer will be there, which has less doping in this case. And next comes again in this P layer, and eventually the other finally N plus, again heavily doped regions of N nearer source and gate. And this inner N minus layer is called as drain drift region. And other things are main, and the main conduction takes place between this body region. And there is another thing shown over here. You can notice that this is nothing but an SCR or thyristor, which is connected over like this in this forward direction, that is from drain towards source. This is a condition which we have to discuss in the next slides. And the other construction is like this, where outer P is P plus, this is also P plus, and the inner n is only n minus, or that is this n plus layer is not there. The buffer layer is not there in this case. The others are same, p n plus. So this extra buffer layer or n plus layer is not there in this case. All others are same. And these things are explained like this. It is a combination of MOSFET and BJT on a single chip. It contains a P plus layer formed as drain and called as injecting layer. The next layer is N minus and called as drain drift region. And it may also consist a buffer layer N plus as shown in the figure in this. In this it is there, in this it is not there. In between injecting layer and buffer layers, a PN junction J1 is formed. This is here it is in this it is called in reverse. This is J1, J2. This is J1, J2. It is injecting between buffer. It is J1. Also, it consists of two more junctions termed J2 and J3. So with this construction, what happens before the actual conduction takes place from source to drain or drain to source in whatever direction, just for the sake of understanding, we will see that the actual conduction takes place in this channel as shown here, from collector to emitter or drain to source or source to drain. But just try to visualize this without any other transistor like equalities. It consists of four layers PN, 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 nothing but an SCR or thyristor. So if the forward applied voltage between source and drain, if the forward applied voltage between the source and drain is more than the threshold voltage or the forward breakover voltage of an SCR or this PN structure, then what happens is before the actual conduction of IGBT starts, the SCR conducts in this reverse direction. This is the problem with IGBT. The construction of IGBT results as if it has a parasitic thyristor as shown in the structure and transistor model. Turn on of this thyristor is undesirable and the body of IGBT should be designed to avoid this turn on. So before the breakover voltage of this PN structure requires is crossed, the actual conduction of IGBT should start, or this N channel or P channel conduction should take place. Then the SCR conduction will not come into picture. And if IGBT does not have N plus layer, if it does not have N plus layer, then the device is called non-punch through IGBT. So this is your non-punch through IGBT, NPT IGBT. Where it has N plus layer, it is called as punch through IGBT or PT IGBT. If N plus layer is there, it is punch through. If N plus layer is not there, it is non-punch through IGBT. This is an equivalent transistor model of IGBT where we can realize the total action of the IGBT as if the MOSFET is connected to a pair of transistors connected in back to back. This is nothing but what we have studied in the previous sessions, that is equivalent to a PNP, NPN transistors connected back to back or resulting in a thyristor or SCR conduction or parasitic SCR. So the triggering or the starting of this IGBT should be such that there will not be any cumulative action taking place between these two transistors. If that happens, SCR conduction takes place, IGBT will not be actually working according to the satisfaction. So this is the equivalent transistor model. When it comes to types, it is N channel IGBT and P channel IGBT, where N type MOSFET is used. This is P type. For N type, emitter goes out. P type, arrow into the emitter comes in. When it comes to VA characteristics of IGBT, quite similar to other transistors, but current gain is better and more. When we draw the characteristics between the applied voltage between drain to source, or VCE, between VCE, or call it as VCC, and plot the characteristics between the collector current or the actual current flowing from source to drain or emitter to collector for different gate voltages. That is gain in the current, and this is the cutoff region where it acts like a turn off or open switch. This is a saturation region where it acts like a closed switch, and this is the active region in which you have to operate the IGBT. And if the reverse voltage is applied, it will not conduct. That depends on the actual N minus layer. If N plus layer is there, the reverse blocking voltage or the rated reverse blocking voltage will be less. When only N minus layer is there without any buffer layer, it can withstand higher reverse blocking voltages. That is why amongst all the configurations, N channel IGBT with non-punch through configuration is used, that is without N plus layer. So NPT IGBT is the most commonly used one to withstand higher reverse blocking voltages and better forward currents and better gain. And also when you plot the characteristics between gate voltage and the collector current, it is just similar to MOSFET characteristics. When the threshold voltage of the gate to source is increased, it conducts. It is just similar to MOSFET. There will be high current gain in the collector, so it is voltage controlled. So these are the VA characteristics. The junction blocks reverse voltage. An IGBT without N plus buffer layer has higher reverse blocking capability, that is non-punch through. Reverse blocking voltage is VRM on the VA characteristics. The junction J2 blocks forward voltage when IGBT is off. When it is turned off but still applied voltage is there, then J2 blocks the forward voltage. That is the most required thing, or which maintains the forward turn off state or forward off state. BVDSS denotes the breakdown voltage in the forward direction. Transfer characteristics of IGBT are similar to that of power MOSFET. So these are the VA characteristics of IGBT. Just we will go through once again the construction and working. This is a non-punch through which we have discussed so far. N channel non-punch through IGBT, which is the most used one. Collector to emitter plus, VCE is plus, gate to emitter is plus. This is how non-punch through NPT IGBT works. When gate is positive with respect to emitter and with gate emitter voltage more than the threshold voltage shown inside the transfer characteristics voltage of IGBT, an N channel is formed. In the P region. N channel is formed in the P regions. Here N channel is formed in the P region in a power MOSFET. This N channel short circuit the N minus region with N plus emitter regions. See, N minus region is from here to here, and N plus regions are over here. Excuse me. So when the voltage crosses the threshold voltage, these N channel is formed over here, thus short circuiting this N plus channel via this N plus layer via this N channel to N minus channel. So it short circuits. An electron movement in the N channel in turn causes substantial hole injection from P plus substrate layer into the epitaxial N minus layer, inner N minus layer. Eventually, a forward current is established as shown in figure 2.16. That is the current flow in the IGBT from collector to emitter. The same thing we can understand over here for SCR, unwanted SCR type of triggering, where a PNP transistor and NPN transistor are shown over here. PN, this is P and this is NPN connected back to back. The base of the NPN transistor is collector of the PNP transistor, and collector of the NPN transistor is the base of the PNP transistor. So it is equivalent to NPN and PNP transistors connected to back or resulting in SCR type of construction. The conduction through these things should not take place. The actual conduction should take place in this direction, as we have discussed over here. The current conduction should be in this path. So before the forward breakover voltage occurs and the current conduction takes place in this path, the threshold voltage between gate and emitter should be crossed so that current flows from this P layer to N plus layer or in this direction. That is how IGBT should be operated. And when it comes to characteristics, these things we have already discussed, transfer characteristics, and this is the VRM, reverse breakdown voltage. If N plus layer is there, this value will be less, or reverse avalanche may be like this, or reverse breakover voltage will be less with N plus layer. If no N plus or buffer layer is there, it can block higher reverse breakover or blocking voltages. So this is all for IGBT, and IGBTs, as they are combining the better features of both BJT and MOSFET, their turn on and turn off times are less, so it can be used as a very fast acting switch with low power loss. And N channel non punch through IGBT is the one which is used, most used, and it can be used for very higher voltages of the order of above 1000 volts also. When we have just a comparison between power bipolar and power MOSFET and IGBT, see, voltage rating of power bipolar or power BJT, it can be used up to or less than 1 kV, both MOSFET, but when it comes to IGBT, it can be used for more than 1 kV also. Current rating is of the order of, or it is just less than 500 amps, it can be used BJT, but MOSFETs can be used for low current ratings, but IGBT takes this feature, it can be used more than 500 amps. Likewise, input impedance low, high, so this is taking the better feature of MOSFET. Likewise, switching speeds, BJT is slow, MOSFET is fast, so for it is better, it is enhanced medium. So that is why IGBT is preferred in most of the applications where it can be combined, it can have combined features of IGBT, BJT and MOSFET. So that is all for now on IGBTs. As per in this session, again we will switch over to our next topic and have an overview on the applications of power electronics and power electronic devices. These things we have already discussed in the previous classes or previous sessions. Power electronics has abundant applications in almost all the fields, may it be research or development or technology or day-to-day use. It can be broadly categorized into residential and home appliances, power supplies for electronic equipments, that is UPS, SMPS like utility systems, transmission, distribution, generation, transportation and automobiles, industrial applications, space technology, and many other applications. In every field, they have emerged. So, in all these fields, whatever power electronic devices which we have discussed so far, we will be having a brief overlook of every device. When it comes to applications of SCR, it is unidirectional device, so it is better used for DC. For AC, you have SCR for each half cycle separately. That is the biggest disadvantage. And it can be used for speed control of motors, battery charging regulators, temperature control circuits, emergency lighting systems, dimmer switch for lighting, power control circuits, and most importantly, over voltage protections, DC circuit breakers, and zero voltage switching. These things we have discussed the applications. Next is G2O SCR, that is gate turn off SCR, which is an enhanced version of SCR. The drawback of gate losing control over the SCR once it is turned on is overcome in this, where in this you can turn off the SCR by gate turn off or applying a reverse signal between gate and cathode. It can be used for high power lamp switching and dimming, used in AC power control, motor control, industrial and domestic lighting, heating and static switching, triggering devices for SCRs, 3-position static switch, and whenever you compare these two applications, most of the applications are common. So actually you can be using any of these two devices depending on your power ratings, turn on and turn off times and characteristics and blocking voltages. So actually the selection of a power electronic devices depends on the forward blocking voltage, reverse blocking voltage, latching currents, holding currents, and the conduction currents, thermal capabilities, or the heat generated or heat which it can withstand, applied voltages, and the currents and its applications. So you have to choose the power electronic devices depending on the application, not these things, whether it is residential or power supplies or utility systems. It has got nothing to do with which device you have to choose. You have to choose proper device, power electronic device, to suit to that particular application. That is, for residential and home appliances also, depending on the current ratings and continuous ratings, all those things, you can use either SCR or an LASCR or other MOSFET like things. Next one is applications of diode. Again, we have discussed these things. Phase control circuits of motor speed control. Phase control is the procedure with which the actual power input to the load is given, or power output from a power supply. Power input from a power supply is controlled by phase control procedure, and its output is given as the input to the load motor speed. Light dimmers, heat controls, in all these things, diode will be used as a phase control sort of device only. And most importantly, which we have discussed, diode and triode are used in tandem in most of the circuits, where diode is used as a triggering device for triode. Again, applications of triode: AC drives, DC drives or DC choppers, inverters and power supplies, DC circuit breakers, induction heating, rolling mills, robotics and machine tools, traction applications, induction heaters, static wear compensators. When compared to SCR and G2SCR, diac and triac are bidirectional devices. They can be used for both DC as well as AC drives as they are bidirectional. The drawback of triac is it is suited for low power applications. And next comes LASCR, which is nothing but light activated SCR. Again, quite similar to the SCR applications, SCR applications, which for all those same things, LASCR can also be used, but the added advantage of LASCR is an electrical isolation can be provided in case of LASCR. For control or turn on, you require an electrical connection between gate and cathode, where LASCR, when light falls on the gate, a triggering pulse which is required for turning on can flow between gate and cathode. So that is the added advantage. So most of the applications will be focusing on electrical isolation. They are again HV, high voltage and high current applications, HVDC transmission, static wear compensation, light activated flash units, logic circuits and alarm circuits, large computer applications, optical light control as the name indicates, light activated, phase control, motor control. So these are the applications of LASCR, and IGBTs are used for high rated, high voltage, high current applications in AC and DC motor drives, UPS, unregulated or uninterrupted power supplies, which we most commonly use, switched mode power supplies, traction motor control, induction heating, inverters. All these applications require high current ratings, so IGBT is suited for those things, and also very low turn on and turn off times for uninterrupted things. So IGBTs are better suited for those things. These are the applications of IGBT, and thus you have to choose different power electronic devices depending on the actual demand of the application. So these are the things which we have discussed in this session. Just a quizzy like if no n plus layer, it is punch through IGBT. With n plus layer, it is non-punch through IGBT. And frequently asked questions are explain the structure of IGBT, explain the VA characteristics, list the applications of various power electronic devices. That is all for now in this session, where we have discussed the construction and working and VA characteristics of IGBT and reviewed applications of the devices which we have already discussed, and also the IGBT, wherein we have to concentrate on the actual ratings of those devices. Depending on the ratings of those devices and depending on the actual ratings required for the load, we have to correlate between and we have to select those power electronic devices to suit to the applications. Thank you for now, and we will meet in next session.